5 minutes time, we are going live on Instagram. Hello, my name is Martha, and I will be your host today. We are talking about empowerment. Big topic. Before we dive in, just like everyone to close their eyes and breathe in deeply and breathe out deeply, loosely, freely. Just really center ourselves and get in the right space for this. Okay. Usually I have a script, mm, but I've decided that it would be much more truthful and authentic to be unscripted. I'm really getting into the wearing of gloves. So throughout this, you see me popping gloves on and popping them off. That's because I'm having an identity crisis, and my old identity is fighting hard at stopping this new identity from coming out. So I like to keep my energy chakra around the throat nice and pure to keep my morality good and on track. We have a different format for you today. Today, I'm going to answer 10 questions related to the topic of empowerment, solidifying your foundations. These 10 questions will be deep, and we have 57 minutes together, so it will go deep. I will take my time and I will answer each one, really infusing the Anasni way through that. And what do I mean by the Anasni way? Love. Divine love. The most unique selling point of Inasni Connections is divine insights. Inasni Connections uses divine insights to facilitate transformation within. By listening and asking the right questions. Questions lead to more questions, better questions. And I hope for you today that these questions also evoke a sense of merit within you, a sense of understanding, flow, guidance, transcendence, alignment, equilibrium, harmony. The words go on and on and on. So without further ado, let's dive in. Question 1. These are foundational questions focused on self-discovery and transformation. So, what was the moment you realized you were waiting for permission to step into your next level? And how did you break free from that? So I gotta ask myself that. I go in my brain and I go, okay. After my father had died in a very gruesome way, I was in the family home on my own. I just come back from work upon receiving the news of my brother's untimely and unfortunate restricted situation. I was alone. It was so quiet. Pin drop silence could be heard. Pin drop. The lights upstairs were off. I was in the living room. I couldn't turn the lights on. I just came in and I sat on the sofa. I reflected on how literally a year ago the place was so noisy. Every room was occupied. It was frustrating to get into the bathroom, and I was complaining about that, and now I'm desperate for someone to occupy the bathroom space just so I can go upstairs and say, hey, I need to use the bathroom. I called a friend and he gave me what comfort he could. But what was crystal clear to me was a growl. My warrior. It was a very fuck it moment. It was a very, oh shit, this is it. There's no going back. I cannot stay here any longer. I gotta go forward. And I got another one during the pandemic. I was on the ward and I was overwhelmed by the volume of patients coming in and out. And I kept looking around for someone to lead. And I realized that I was the leader that everyone was looking up to. And something just snapped into my head, reflecting on what was that breaking free moment, that snap. I felt sorry for the people around me. They looked pitiful. I felt pitiful. But if I really cared about them, then I gotta take care of them. And it was that simple. I just went around asking, what do you need? Everybody knows what they need. So I thought, what do I need? I need to chill. I need a safe space where I can just be. So let me give them a chill space. What do you need? And they'll tell me what they need, and it'll be my responsibility to facilitate all their resources and get them on their way. And once they're on their way, I will periodically check in and make sure, are you okay? What's going on? What do you need? What's outstanding? What do you need help with? Etc. 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 With the home situation, I made a decision that no more bleeding. I'm bleeding. I'm losing so much. It's kind of like when you have diarrhea and you start to feel a bit woozy and you've lost all your electrolytes. It's just like, I need to stop shitting. I need to stop bleeding. I need to stop vomiting. So it was I just clamped everything. So if I was paying, and a lot of this was financial output, if I was paying a fee, say the Sky or a subscription to Prime and Netflix and Disney, it's like, do I need that? Nope. Cancel. Delete. And I went a bit nuts with that, to be honest. But I was able to break free from it. It was a very survival, last minute situation. But not every situation is like that. Another one was with this company, Anasni. The day I thought of the name Anasni Connections, I thought to myself, I've been asking for permission most of my life. Reflection will do this, reflect. Even if it's just for 5 minutes, it will take you there. And very simply, I looked at my old identity and thought, oh man, I really enjoy what we've kind of worked on together. However, I got some places to go, yo. So, please will you let me? I'll hang out with you down the line. I'm sure there are things that we'll collaborate on again. And this is me talking to my old identity out loud. I know you love me. I love you too. But you gotta let me go, dude. So that I can expand and do more. I'm gonna be an old identity in a year's time. It's gonna be a new person. So now I break free from that so easily. I think to myself, I got places to go. Staying here is not going to benefit the both of us. Staying here is not going to benefit the people I want to help. So how do I benefit? What am I actually going to gain from this action? Simple. Start there. It's just a starting point. From there, you can go to, there's so many paths. It's unbelievable. But all you need is a starting point, and to really hammer that starting point home in a very sweet and gentle and kind and non-judgmental way, right? We've had enough of that in our lives. So number 2, how do you define empowerment? Not just in words, but in how it feels when embodied. This is great. Embodiment is rhythm for me. Everything has got a rhythm in existence. Everything's got duality. We talk about the 7 laws of existence within the Kibbalon. So you've got, mentalism, everything's connected. You've got the law of gender, everything's got male and female energy within it. You've got rhythm, you've got vibrations, you've got duality, you've got polarity, you've got um I've forgotten what it's called, but it's I'm not sure, as above, as below. Starts with a C. I get these breaks in my brain sometimes. Interesting. So empowerment. EM, me. Yes, ME. Power and meant. Power meant for me. That's how I define it. It's like every human has power. Just in the pure simple fact that you're alive, you've got power. And if you're alive, you have energy to sleep. I was really struggling to get out of bed this morning, and I realized I'm not struggling. I'm actually emotionally depleted, and I just need to like be with myself, just to like love my space. And that's exactly what I did. I just hung out in bed, and when I got tired of doing something in bed, I'll go do another thing in bed, and I'll just keep doing that till it's like, oh, I'm ready to get out of bed. And I was. There's a reason why you are doing what you do. So, focusing on the power within self. If you can feel any part of your body where you feel most powerful, where would it be? Right now, for me, the most powerful part of my body is here. It's like my head and my heart are meeting here. I'm really, really focused and conscious of my delivery. Not so much what it is I want to say. The questions help tailor that. Not so much in how I feel. I've done my prep work before coming on here. It's more, how do I want to convey this message? So, how does it feel? Rhythm. I feel a bounce. I can hear the smallest sounds. I've got a little bit of music in the background at the moment. I've got the shuffling of my fingers. I've got my housemate somewhere in the back there. I can hear very, very faint movements. For me, it's auditory. I'm picking up on my environment and I'm solidifying myself. I have the power to do that. It's that simple. I have the power to see. I can actually see. It could be worse. Working as a nurse, one of the best advice I ever got was from the British patient. They'd come in with all sorts of issues, and I'd go, "Wow, you've had it tough," and it's true. It's just kind of validating that. And I would always get, "Yeah, well, it could be worse." So I'm actually quite grateful. Wow. So you want to define empowerment? Find your own way. The Anazani way. Rhythm. Movement. There's nothing the body is designed for greater than movement. The body loves to move. If you move, you recognize you have the power to move. Ask a paralyzed person. How do you define empowerment? You get a radically different answer. But even just being able to move the eyes is a treat. And if you've ever lost a limb or been paralyzed, you really understand what this means. After my knee surgeries, every single time, that reduced mobility, that immobilization of the joint, oh, so stressful. My mom just had a hip surgery done, and I can see she's so relieved, but the reduction in her movement is really impacted her. And I'm sure if I asked her what empowerment was to her, I'll get a radically different answer. But the thread will remain the same. Rhythm. All right, so let's move on. So, number 3. Empowerment is always tested, whether by society, those closest to us, or our own doubts. Which of these 3 battles, outer, inner, internal, has been your biggest challenge? And how did you move through it? I'm trying to look at you. Empowerment is always tested. The power within us is always tested because people love control. Control of self, control of others. Mel Robbins' podcast was super informative. She had a lovely scene in the most recent one where she talked about her husband who just quit drinking, and she poured herself a glass of wine at dinner and she like offered him a glass and he was just like, no, no, no. And then by the third time, he got pretty frustrated and kind of looked at her and went, look, you need to examine your relationship with drinking. And she came up with a conclusion that when we foster change in our lives, it triggers other people to confront their own relationships with change. And by the same token, empowerment is kind of like that, in that her husband tried to regain power over, we call it, well, Paul calls it in the Bible, sensual gratification. Yes, the body loves movement, and that movement is very much tailored to the pleasures of the senses. So, by that same token, outer society, inner, those closest to us, and internal, our own doubts. The biggest challenge is my own doubts. Society, I can shut out society. That's pretty easy. Those closest to me, I can shut them out too. A little bit more challenging, but I can do it. My own doubts, I can only shut that out by knocking myself out, taking a ton of drugs, exercising to the point where I cannot think, going to sleep, or engaging in really high adrenaline filled or just perception altering activities, should we say. If I went skydiving, I don't have time to think about my doubts. Wow! You know what I mean? I'm out there. So how do I move through it? I gotta know my why. You know, I was talking about my why this morning. It's like I was just trying to get out of bed. It's like, why am I doing this? Why do I even need to get out of bed? What's the point? How do I regain my power? I kind of feel like I lost my power. I became crystal clear. Well, it sounds like I need to remember my why. And why did I start investing connections? Yeah, I want to help people, but it's not enough. Yeah, I want to help the world develop and improve its holistic approach to life, but that's still not enough. Yes, I do enjoy it and I'm really good at it, and I can see myself helping millions of people, billions even, but no, that's not enough. My ultimate goal in life is to live forever. The only story in human history that can get me there is God's kingdom. So for me, I move through it by having a clear head understanding of my why, a clear heart understanding of my why, and a clear hands and feet understanding of my why. So the head solves problems, is the thinking. The heart anchors everything and makes it sensually pleasant. And that's the heart, that's the why. The emotions. And then the hands and the feet, they're doers. They get things done. And the mouth as well, of course. They get things done. And we call them the doers. These are the ones that allow both the head and the heart to kind of connect together and bring everything to a 3D reality. So move through it. Move through your biggest challenge when it comes to feeling empowered by knowing your why for doing what you're doing as clearly as you know your name. And if you don't know your name, well, we can work on that too. Number 4. Most people don't fear failure. They fear what success will demand of them. Was there a time when, I just want to move this. Was there a time where success required more from you than expected? Great question. It's true. Most people do not fear failure. They fear the demands of success. I'm at the tailor end of overcoming that fear. I love failing, actually. It helps me grow. My perception of my past is one of pain. That said, I love that. I thrive on that. I'm actually really good at excelling at avoiding things, avoiding pain, and actually being part of it. But when it came to the pleasure stuff, the smiling, the happiness, the light, positivity, to live in a positive only world was pretty intense. A time when success required more from me than expected was when I launched this company, and I thought, oh my goodness, I have to lead. I have to lead as a role model, the embodiment of this mission. I was like, that's a bit wild, you know. My ultimate mentor is Jesus. 100%. He's the coolest human to have ever lived. There's a ton of history out there that supports it. So why Jesus? Jesus Jesus's life was pretty clear. C.W. Lewis, he mentions very clearly that when it comes to Jesus, you kind of have to make up your mind. Is he is he insane for saying that he is God and that he's the Son of God? Is he a really, really charismatic leader with bad intentions just to mislead people? Or is he the Son of God? Because he did not give you the option of, man, is he just a human being? No, no, no. He is a human being and he is God. So for me, leading and announcing connections, I really needed to make that decision for myself. And I thought about what society would think about me when I come up with how radical I am about Jesus. And I felt the expectation of having to explain myself to almost everybody who would ask me more and more and more about it. And I thought, okay, success will invite more scrutiny into my beliefs, into my thoughts, my emotions, my actions, my plans, you name it. It'll be scrutinized. And the more success I get, the harder it will become for me. So, well, it was pretty simple. Every day, I decided I'm going to train myself. So that question, when was a time where success requires more from me than I expected? Every day since I launched this company on the 17th of July, 2024. I take, even if it's just 5 minutes, to think about me at my most successful tomorrow, or in a month, or in a year, in 10, and 15, 20, 30, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years, and even way after I'm dead. I think about all that and I come to a conclusion. And the conclusion here is success should be afraid of me. Not because I'm the strongest and most powerful, but because I'm cautious as hell. And I chose God, aka Jesus, because his yes was yes. And his no was no. The greatest gift you can give to somebody is your own life. The greatest gift I can give as a leader to a Nazni is my life. Next question. Many people experience breakthroughs, but few fully own them. What does it take to not just have a breakthrough, but to make it your new foundation? So for me, yes, many people do experience breakthroughs, but few do fully own them. Breakthroughs happen all the time. In fact, they're on a scale sometimes. You have major breakthroughs. You know, I met someone recently. She wanted to move from being a teacher to go into something new, something more. So she found marketing. But that process took her a year. That was a major breakthrough for her because it's a year worth of smaller size, bite-sized breakthroughs that accumulated to form this major breakthrough. She didn't just wake up one morning and then, she woke up, she had the thought, she had the idea, she had probably 100, 1,000, close to 10,000 ideas. She needed to sit down and plan. She needed to talk to a whole lot of people. These are little breakthroughs. You have an idea, you formulate a plan, you take action. Breakthrough. Idea, plan, action. Breakthrough. Idea, plan, action. Breakthrough. And so on and so forth. If you don't take action, there is no breakthrough that's going to happen. You can think what you want. And I love visionary thinkers, deep thinkers. But all that kocha in the head is not going to do anything. You got to take action. So what does it take to not just have a breakthrough, but to make it a new foundation? write it down. You gotta seize the outcome and put it on paper. It's got to be anchored in. If it's not anchored in, then when you need to go and fetch it, it's not going to be there. It's kind of like if you need to open a Word file, a document on your computer, but you haven't named the file properly. Of course, it's going to be more challenging for you to take on this new idea, this excitement that you just this brilliant state of being that you've just formulated and generated, and make something of it, because you haven't organized yourself properly. Your archives, you gotta document, you gotta organize them, you gotta file them. One of the greatest things I see as an agency nurse is disorganization. I walk in here, I don't know the environment, but if it's really well organized, it's a dream. When it's poorly organized, got my eye on some places, it's a nightmare, because I'm wasting time asking for permission. Excuse me, can you show me where? Excuse me, where do I go? Excuse me, can you excuse me? Excuse you, excusez-moi. So make it your new foundation by organizing yourself through anchoring. We can talk about media production, whether that's video or audio or writing. And the reason I'm picking writing is because if I go back to before technology, writing was the way that we were able to anchor ourselves, draw on walls, carve things. We need to use our hands and our feet as much as possible to establish them foundationally. We're made from earth. This is my personal belief, as in, to dust you return, to dust you came. And so these are your rocks, and your feet as well. These are your rocks. All right. They need to move. And the more they move and build, then these foundations, you can be sure, will be on bedrock. Let's move on. What's one hard decision you made in full finality, where there was no turning back, no second guessing, just full commitment to the choice? Moving on from relationships that no longer served the mission. It was really, really tough. I absolutely adore my friends. I absolutely adore most of the humans I'm in contact with. I'm absolutely enthralled when I meet an interesting person. I very much would love to spend a great deal of time with them. However, I ask myself a fundamental question: how is my being here taking me one step closer to my goal? And yeah, I can spend an hour with you walking around the museum, but how is this serving anybody in the long run? If I go beyond that hour, I'm serving myself. As your friend, I don't believe I have friends, because I'm not a very good friend. I'm too much of a narcissist, which makes it easier for me to not look back. And salt and Gomorrah, I don't want to turn to salt. What does that mean? I don't want to be bitter. And is salt bitter? I suppose salt is not bitter. I don't want to be salty. You put salt in the wound. That kind of feeling. I don't want that. And I haven't been as upfront with it. So a hard decision I had to make in full finality was cutting out relationships, cutting out mellowed to letting go. I was also a bit of a clutch in that I held on to relationships to heal myself. I didn't know I was suffering. I was born in pain, as far as my perception lets me believe, even though I know it's not true. I still believe it. And so it's easy for me to let go of things that no longer serve the mission, the purpose, the direction, the flow. And I guess My why just really anchors me. I'm so obsessed with getting to God's kingdom because it just sounds like the coolest place to be. I'm alive forever. I'm not in pain. I'm not suffering. I'm not worried that I'm gonna die. I'm gonna run out of time. I don't need to worry about being hungry. I eat for pleasure. I don't have to worry about being thirsty. I don't have to worry about, oh, I should get married and have kids, my clock and all that nonsense. I just live. I do whatever I want, whenever I want. I worship the strongest, most powerful being in the universe because this being can literally do anything. If I said, look, I want to go walk on Mars, this being can make it happen. Like, hello? Okay. What's the most underestimated truth about self trust? That it starts in the self direction, that it starts in other. In order to have been, you needed others. Before you were even born, your parents had to think about you. Say, oh, I want a baby. That thought came up. Your formation began somewhere in existence already. It's underestimated because there's a ton of data out there that kind of focuses on the self, the self, the self, the self, the self. And it's like, okay, great, yeah, but you got to do for others before you do for yourself. And I'm going to repeat that. You got to do for others before you do for yourself. What do I mean by that? Yeah. You need to take time for yourself. We get that. If you're not okay, how can you be okay? You know, in nursing, they actually teach you someone's falling, you do not catch them. Why? Because you're not insurance covered for that. So if your grandfather is going to a ward and is about to have a fall, ain't nobody gonna catch him because we've been trained not to. But here's the thing: instinct. People do, and they do their best. It's just you're already there. Your hands are already there, trying to catch. So where does self trust come from? Validation. Validation is vital for trust. How do you personally cultivate unwavering belief in your own choices? My experience in overcoming obstacles have been mesmerizing, and this has been validated by other people. Even when I had doubt, self doubt, even when my self trust tank was not full enough for me to have full self trust, my other trust tank was full enough. I made sure of that. Wherever I go, I get feedback. How was that for you? How did I do? How do you perceive me? How was it? It was uncontrolled in the beginning, and we'll dive into that. No, if it's uncontrolled, it can lead to a whole lot of problems. But when you are in self control, which is critical, self control is absolutely vital for joy and peace and love, kindness, patience. Patience brings about love. You've got kindness that brings about joy, and you've got goodness that brings about peace. But to really bring those three together, you need that forbearance. Just because I have a right doesn't mean I should enforce it. So, how do I personally cultivate unwavering belief in my own choices? I make sure I get validated, whether it's internal or external. I don't really care. It's just that if I spend too much time internally validating myself, I miss out on the benefits of external validation. And vice versa, if I spend too much time externally validating myself, then I miss out on the benefits of internal validation. I want all the benefits of validation. Okay, number 8. So some people need to stabilize their growth before they expand further. Yes. Others need to take the next leap. Yes. How do you know which stage you're in? I would say your body will tell you. You begin with your body. You don't begin with your mind. Your mind was formed after your body began to form. There is an existential truth in hardware before software. Apple is great, but without its hardware, you wouldn't really experience its full capacity, should we say, that the software brings. But you need the hardware to be able to bring about the software. So your growth happens in the software. And as that expands, the hardware needs to expand with it. Now, in taking the next leap, your body will tell you because your mind has a library of experiences that you are familiar with. Okay. However, your body in this new growth sees the expansion of the mind and thinks, I need to expand as well. I need to take the next leap in order to sustain this growth. You're gonna feel anxious. Your body's gonna feel like, nah. You're gonna regress actually to old habits and run to your comfort zone. So if you find yourself doing a lot of the things that you love, your comfort zone, that is a natural sort of feedback loop mechanism, like homeostasis almost, where your body just needs to recalibrate and be like, it's safer here because we know we're familiar with what's expected. We're familiar with the known. It's more comfortable. I know what to do. I know how to handle it. It's kind of like staying in your job for more than 2 years. You're like, yeah, it's cool. I know everything around here. Why do I need to go somewhere where I don't know things? Well, that's the beauty about the whole self-trust thing. You do know it. It's in your brain. Trust your brain, yo. The body will tell you when it's time to trust your brain. How do you know which stage you're in? Your body will tell you. Are you regressing to old habits? Are you eating? Are you moving in the same way? And by that I mean, are you taking the same route? And when you go into the station, are you walking the same pace? Are you experiencing aches and pains in the same areas? Your habits, are you putting your hair up in the same way? All these little things that we don't really pay attention to. By things I mean actions that we don't pay attention to. They really come into focus here. If you haven't already, check out www.anasniconnections.com for weekly blog insights. We have reached the end of this wonderful live stream, episode 6. So next week, join me. I want to say us, but it's just 2 people kind of working, me and a freelancer who's super awesome. Just like next week, join this live stream for leadership, guiding 1 to 50 people. I've been very fortunate in my life to guide a large volume of people. And I'm now entering to a phase of my career where I'm going to be guiding more than 100 people. And I'm going to pinpoint this topic. It's not going to be huge and grandiose about strategies and whatnot, which is great. People need actionable, bite-sized information to be able to take away and reuse and replicable stuff. And yes, I agree with all of that. But deep down, before all of that, people need meaning and purpose. And that's where Nasni shines. So follow at Nasni Connections on Instagram. Next Friday, I'll see you at 6 o'clock. Stay tuned on social media for any updates. We've got our live stream schedule sort of stream up on LinkedIn and on Instagram. Fun fact, Daniel Priestley recently went on a Doak Show podcast and shared this beautiful tip. If you want to be remembered online in the digital world, number one, you've got to... Number one, I don't want that there. You've got to spend time with people. So quality time. And by spending time with them, you've got to spend time with them. You got to let them see you for 7 hours. Spare 7 hours of quality time. It doesn't have to be all in one go, but you need to come up to at least a total of 7 hours. And then it'll start to trigger in the brain. I've seen this before. Number 2 is you got to do that at least 11 times. That's frequency now. We've gone to intensity, now we're in frequency. And then the third one, you got to do it across at least 4 platforms. So by the end of this year, a video a week with an edited replay on our YouTube channel, which is the next point. All our replays are available on YouTube in March. You can watch it. I'm your host, Martha Iwas, and you've been with the Nasni Connections today. It's been honestly super awesome to sit here and do this format. It's definitely something that is going to be happening going forward. I wasn't able to actually, I got so excited, I didn't actually check any of the Instagram feed to see who was live, so there was no interaction. So I've just gone to check on there. And once more, my heart breaks. There was nobody with me in actuality, but that's not how I perceive life. So it's okay. So thank you for watching. I want to leave with a question for you. Where does your power come from? And how will you hold on to it going forward? Thank you so much. Good night. Bada bing, bada boom, bada bum bum bum, bada 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 da da da, dee da 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 da.